Hello, first graders. You should have out your special phonics paper. It was in your brown bag that we sent home on distribution day. We are not using our whiteboards. We are not using a spiral notebook. Your special phonics paper. It goes side to side like this. And remember what we'll do is hopefully you can have a parent help you. And we fold it in half. Yours might already be folded in half. So if you have this paper, go ahead and get it out. If not, pause the video and get this paper out now. And make sure it's folded. It doesn't matter which side you use. All right, as always, we are sitting up nice and straight. Our stomach is touching our desk. Our back is touching the back of our chair like a sandwich. We always hold our paper so that when we write, it doesn't go all squirrely. And here we go. The first sound that we are going to write is it says A. Well, Ms. Krakowski, we learned 2 different cards that say A. I'm so glad that you waited for me. I would like you to write the A that usually comes at the end of a word. What is the A that usually comes at the end of a word? Oh, well, English words usually don't end in I, so it must be AY. So we are going to start at 2 o'clock, go around the clock up to 2, pull straight down. Make sure you have a nice big clock letter. Then we go up to the dotted line, down to the baseline, lift your pencil, up to the dotted line, through where I went before, down to the next line. A-Y. I'll make it a little bigger for you to see here. A-Y. And as we go through, we do a finger space and we say A. And we say A. And this A usually comes at the end of a word or a syllable. So if you hear it at the end of a word, it's probably going to be AY. Look how nice and neat my AYs are. If you are all done with your AYs, nice job. If you're not to the end of the line, no worries. Go ahead and pause the video. All right, my friends, so the next sound that we're going to do is also A. Which one? This is the A that comes in the middle of a word or syllable. It comes in the middle. That must be AI, says A in the middle. We did our A's and our I's previously, so starting at 2 o'clock, around the clock, up to 2, pull straight down. You should have a tiny little tent there. And my I starts at the dotted line, pulls to the baseline, and I pick up my pencil with a tiny little dot. Remember, we don't want to see these big old lollipops. And as I go through, I say A. And this one comes in the middle. A. This one comes in the middle. A. This one doesn't come at the end of a word. Let's see. You know what? I really don't want to squeeze my A and my I because I want a big fat A. So I'm going to stop there. If you have made it to the end of the line, great job. If you have not, go ahead and pause the video and finish up. The next sound that we are going to do is ed-d-t. Go ahead and say it with me. Ed-d-t. Let's go ahead and write it. Ed-d-t. Remember, I start in between the dotted line and the baseline, straight over, and I go up and around the clock. Oh, my pen didn't work there. Up and around the clock, making sure there's a point there on my E. Then for my D, doing a nice clock letter up to the top, down to the baseline. Again, ed-d-t, 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 ed-d-t. Double checking that your clock letters are touching the bottom line and the dotted line. I'm seeing some friends turn in their phonics papers and they have letters that are floating. All of these letters need to be touching the dotted line and the baseline, or else you need to fix them. That's what good writers do. They go back and fix their work. All right, if you are not at the end of the line yet, no big deal. Go ahead and push pause. All right, our next sound is ooh, Say it with me. Ooh, Go ahead and write it. Ooh, This is my double clock letter. This is a perfect opportunity for you to practice touching that dotted line and that baseline. Starting at 2 o'clock. I'm not starting up here at the dotted line. I'm starting at 2 o'clock. I go up to the dotted line, around the clock, if my pen will work, back to 2 o'clock. Is your O touching the dotted line in the baseline? If it's not, please fix it. Same thing. Around the clock, touching the dotted line in the baseline. If yours are not, make them bigger. Or if they're too big, make them smaller. So I have my O, finger space. And I say, ooh, 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 Alrighty, if you are not to the end of the line, no worries. Go ahead and pause the video. Our next sound is E-A. Say it with me. E-A. Go ahead and write it. E-A. Remember our E's, we start in between the dotted line and the baseline, straight across. Come on, pen. Up and around the clock. Oh my goodness, I'm going to switch to a pencil. Up and around the clock. Hopefully you can see that okay. Yes. And starting at 2 o'clock, around the clock, straight up, and pull down to the baseline. And we say ed, d, t. 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 Uh-oh. Is this E touching that baseline? You know what? It's not. So I'm going to cross it off. I'm going to grab one more E right over here and do my last perfect ED at the end. I don't want to end on one where my E is floating. If you are not to the end of the line yet, that's okay. Go ahead and push pause. If you are to the end of the line, our next sound is Y-I-I-E. Go ahead and say that with me. Y-I-I-E. Go ahead and write it. Y-I-I-E. Starting at the dotted line, we pull down to the baseline, pick up your pencil, up to the dotted line, down through the baseline, down to that next line. Y-I-I-E. Y-I-I-E. Making sure that where my two lines meet are down at that baseline. It should not be floating. Y-I-I-E. 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 All right, my friends, if you are not to the end of the line yet, go ahead and push pause. If you are at the end of the line, my next sound is ch. Now this is 3 letters and it only has one sound. Ch. Go ahead and write it. Ch. 3 letters. Ch. Hopefully you started at the top line, pull straight down, and a tiny crossbar. T, my C starts at 2 o'clock, around the clock, up to 4. C and H starts at the top, pull down, up and over the clock, down to the baseline. T-C-H says ch. Finger space. And as I write it, I'm going to say the sound. Ch. 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 Oop. I keep hitting the camera, sorry, with my pencil. Ch. All right, I only had room to write it 3 times because there's 3 letters. Once you get to the end of the line, nice job. If you are not there, go ahead and push pause. Our next sound is ing. Say with me, ing. Go ahead and write it. Ing. And we're actually only going to write this 1 time. So if you've already gone ahead, write ing 1 time. because we are out of room and I would like to write a word or two. All right. We're going to write some of our spelling words today. The first word that I would like to write is the word day. What day did you learn how to spell the word day? So fist up. We have D, A. So use the D sound. And then you want to use the A. Oh, which A? Two letters say A. Oh, I know. It comes at the end of a word. D, A. Go ahead and write it. Do a finger space and write it at the bottom. Day. See if you can write it before I do. Day. If you are still trying to sound it out and write it, go ahead and push pause because I am about to give the answer. Day. I said use D. And then I said it's two letters that say A, but it's at the end. Well, I know when I hear the A sound at the end that it's A, Y. If you wrote D-A-Y, give yourself a star or a smiley face. If you did not, that's okay. Go ahead and write it now. Now, my friends, we're going to flip just this first sound. So in the next word, we're still going to say A. Here we go. I would like you to change the D to a W. Let's go ahead and write that. Here we go. So instead of day, we have W. What? And then we're still going to do our A that comes at the end of a word. What is our new word? Well, it's going to rhyme with this one because it has the two letters the same at the end. So we have day, then we have way. Day, way. If you wrote W-A-Y, give yourself a star or a smiley. If not, go ahead and write way now. All right, my friends, that's all for phonics today. But guess what? We don't have anything written on the other side of this paper. So what I want you to do is save this paper in your first grade resource folder so that tomorrow when we do phonics, we can go right on the back of this paper. All right, friends, I'll see you tomorrow.